Right. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Um, everybody, welcome to our show today. You're listening to Giving Yourself Permission with me, Tahira, and I'm joined by Sister Sara today on Ramadan Radio.
Assalamu
80
alaikum.
87. Sorry, I should have paused there, shouldn't I? We're going to introduce you in a bit, so we're okay. So listening to on Radio Ramadan 87.9 FM, online at radioramadan.org and streaming on Facebook. And anytime you wish to, happy for you to call, text, WhatsApp, any feedback, comments, or sort of questions which you may have on 077 614 60614. So I'll just repeat that number again: 077 614 60614. Always love to hear people's feedback and sort of what you're thinking and what's taking place. And I'm shukran to Sister Sara joining me today. We're going to be talking about giving yourself permission. And what do I mean by that? I mean sort of just going, okay, I'm okay with who I am. I'm okay with sort of accepting and appreciating sort of who I am internally and sort of demonstrating that to the world in a very sort of constructive way. But introduce yourself, Sister Sara. Give us a little background about you, if that's okay.
Hello, assalamu alaikum, everybody. Peace be upon you. How are you guys doing? My name's Sara Saleh. I actually live in the Midlands at the moment, but I'm originally from down south, as you can tell by my accent. I'm a mum of four, and I'm a reaver of around 16 years now, alhamdulillah, and I am a new business mentor, business coach, and I run a couple of my own businesses.
Amazing. And you told me something earlier, because we were having a bit of a catch up, weren't we, about how you got to there. So talk just a little bit about your sort of where you started from and the different routes which got you to where you are. Because did you always grow up and think, oh, this is what I'm going to be a business coach? Where did that come from?
Not at all. Obviously, I grew up, we lived on a council estate in the 80s. You know, my father was very into socialism, politics. What we did grow up with, maybe not a lot as well. As I grew older, you know, trying to find my way, I didn't really know where I wanted to be, but I just knew that I wanted to do something. I wanted to kind of better myself. And I kind of started at the bottom, worked my way up. I was working in telecoms for around 10 years. And then my last role was in management consultancy. And then I actually gave it up for 6 years to be a mum. Oh. So I was basically being a mum for about 6 years. I was like, you know, I've got 3 children. I want to really go back to work. And then I got into business and I started working for my brother-in-law, who owns a travel agency in London. So I was working online and I just didn't know. I just came on this online world and I just didn't have a clue. I thought, you know, you put a couple of posts out there and that's it. You get people calling you, you know, with business. It doesn't work like that, and it can be a very isolating and lonely place, especially for a Muslim woman or a visibly Muslim woman as well, to put yourself out there online, to kind of understand and navigate all the different, you know, things that you need to learn. Because when you start your own business, you're kind of you're marketer, you're the graphic designer, you're everything, you know, and you really need to have that mindset and understand that, you know, you are kind of good enough and you can really put yourself out there. I actually lost my business during COVID last year. So instead of kind of sitting around, I just thought, right, what can I do that's going to help people and that's also going to be able to be a viable business for myself? That's when I set up Sara Saleh Consulting. And I was like, right, you know, I'm going to come on, I'm going to teach women. You know, my customers are Muslims because that's just who I attract. I have got non-Muslim clients as well. And I was like, you know, I'm going to teach them how to write content, how to, you know, get on to basically grow. And every single one of my clients has got mindset issues. You know, they really don't want to put themselves out there at all. They just, you know, I felt the same as well. I feel it every day. You know, there's this thing, a term that's been coined, imposter syndrome, that's, you know, a lot of people hear now. It kind of means that you don't feel like yourself or you don't feel good enough. And, you know, a lot of women, especially Muslim women, find it very difficult to get themselves out there and actually, you know, start a business. They're worried about what people are going to say. They're worried about what are the community going to say? You know, is it a halal income? You know, there's so many things, because even as non-Muslims, we've been taught this. We've been taught, you know, don't put yourself out there. You know, earning money is wrong. You have to kind of keep yourself at home and keep yourself quiet. But actually, there are so many role models in Islam, like all the way through from the times of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the way through to now. We've got some amazing role models that we've seen as women in Muslim women or visibly Muslim women that have put themselves out there, and that's in modern times as well.
Absolutely, Sister Sarah. And I think it's interesting because as a growing up within Islam, so growing up Pakistani Muslim, I kind of came across that because I'm not a quiet personality, but I'm not too loud. I'm kind of in between, I would say. and with that side of it, people would say to me, "Oh, you're a little bit too loud, aren't you? Or don't ask so many questions and present a certain way and do all those things." And I think what was really interesting for me was to sort of reflect on that, and internally having to, I was turning inwards to understand, who am I, what do I stand for, what are the things. And I feel personally that I've got sort of three bows to me, really. I've got my Islam, which is amazing, really, really amazing, and it gives me permission to be this personality who can be present and sort of allow people to sort of listen to what I've got, and it gives me total permission to have an opinion and all those things. The second bit is my Pakistani background, so of Pakistani heritage, and then the last bit, which I don't know what people like to coin, but I just call it my Britishness. Like, so I was born here, so I was growing up here, so all of those sort of things. And it's really interesting how it's about how you combine those three together, and how you kind of go, right, okay, how am I bringing this together? And I went for a little bit of a journey, and I think what we did was, and it was interesting that you said it, is that we kind of go to the, what business idea can I do, what can I run? And what we actually, I think, is key to do, and this is for my personal opinion, I'm not professionally qualified or anything, is go back a few steps, look at who you are, so what's happening, what motivates you, what gets you to you, sort of what's happening. And we're going to inshallah try to give some practical things which people can be thinking about and doing, because I think that's really key, because we can say to ourselves, and it is the imposter syndrome. I had a meeting with where I worked, and the chief exec was a female, and I sat down with her, she's non-Muslim, white, and I just said to her, how did you get to where you are? Because I like to hear people's journey and understand, and sort of what was the things. And she said to me, Tahira, one of the things which we as females do is, like, we doubt ourselves. So when there's a job description, if there's 10 things on that job description, we as females want to make sure we can tick every single one. And that's the same as starting your business. You want to make sure you can do every single thing, and then you either apply or you make a step. And she said men don't do that, and men kind of look at 2 points and go, oh, I can do the rest, I can learn it as I go on the job. And I thought that was a really interesting perspective from a chief exec. She was running quite a large organization, and she said the thing which she always sort of comes across is how we as females do that to ourselves, because we're our own worst enemy, in a good way, because we should reflect and we should be able to sort of think about those things and stuff. So let's take a step backwards, let's take a few steps backwards, and have a think about that, and think about what tools people can be doing and thinking of to help them to navigate the imposter syndrome, to navigate what's internally, because actually it's not a light switch, it's a progress. Like, it takes time to do it. I don't know about yourself, Sister Sarah, I still think I'm doing it right now. I'm always thinking, like, what can I be thinking about? Oh, am I good enough?
Do you know what's funny? You did it subconsciously without even realizing. What did you say just before we came on live?
What did I say?
What did you say? You said, shall I say it, or do you want to say it? You said, I hope I don't sound too gangster. And you didn't even realize that was you internalizing your imposter syndrome already there. And I was like, don't worry, we're all a bit gangster. We're gangster. But, you did that. We do it all the time. All of us do it. I do it. And you did that. And even though now you're speaking about it, you probably didn't connect the two things. You didn't actually realize. You were like, okay, we better go on, because we feel like we need to look a certain way, we need to speak a certain way, we need to drive a certain car, we need to look we need to have this kind of certain life. And also, I find as Muslim women, we automatically feel like we have to be, if we're out in the public eye or we're out running our business, we have to be this kind of religious authority. that we have to, we have to know all the hadiths, we have to use all the religious language. I've noticed that a lot of us, I've done this myself, feel, oh, I can't put myself out there as a Muslim because I don't know enough about Islam. I don't know enough. I'm not a scholar. But actually, your business, we're allowed to, in Islam, we're allowed to have an halal income. It's okay to earn money. It's okay to run a business within, we're not, is within obviously our own remits of like, the Sharia or whatever, but we don't have to be, the big Islamic scholar, the big, ustada. We don't have to be that person. We can just be us and be Muslims, because we are Muslims. That's our identity. But even, I think, not as a reaver, I'm in a lot, I find it from Muslims and non-Muslims, especially when we wear hijab and people see us and they see me, even I get it from born Muslims, they just think I must know everything about Islam and I've got to be this big, religious authority, but I'm actually maybe not. I'm just trying to run my business. I'm just running my business. It doesn't have to be like that. So I think we do that as Muslims anyway. We're always kind of putting ourselves down because we're always told, oh, you have to give all your money to charity. Like I saw Amir Khan, the boxer, and his wife, the amount they get trolled is unbelievable. If you go to the Facebook page, he might have gone, I've bought a new house, and he's put it on there. And what people are saying to him is unbelievable. Why are you not giving it to charity? Why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? But the guy does give to charity. Obviously, that's just an example of somebody, but it's just an example of but then that's probably gone off and caused his wife to have anxiety issues that she's got.
It's about how we take that external, how we internalize it. And I think it's key, because actually growing up within a certain set of rules and sort of restrictions and all those things, and I appreciate rules because I think they kept me on track. My mum definitely kept me on track, which is good. If she hadn't, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I totally appreciate her. So I think it's about how we take that and how we internalize it. So how do we give ourselves permission to speak when we're at a meeting? So if we've been told, like, I know I can be present at a meeting sometimes and go, oh, should I be saying that? Should I not be saying that? My most recent place where I work, they're amazing. Like, my boss will say, like, come on, Tahira, let's go. Where's your questions? I love your questions. I love that you challenge. My colleagues are lovely. A shout out to my friend Rachel, who's one of my colleagues. She wanted to shout out, so she got one. And then it's about how do we sort of take that, and I want to talk through some of the tools which you've used with people and I've used, and I want to share them with sort of how people can apply that and how I felt it helped me, because it's good to talk about it, and I think it's good to understand, but let's look at them. So one of the tools I've used is the 16 personalities, and these are free tools which are online. So all you do is do a bit of a Google, find sort of pop in 16 personalities, and that's with 16 with a 16 personalities.com. And that's quite a good one. That allows you to sort of go online and answer some questions, and it's usually best not to think about them too much in regards to, you kind of, oh, does it mean this, does it mean this, do I mean this, all that sort of stuff. And it allows you to look at your strengths, and I like to focus on your strengths and weaknesses. And what you'll do is, as an individual, you'll scroll straight down to the weaknesses, because everybody does that. You kind of go, oh, okay, don't worry about the strengths.
Do you know, I did this test for the first time a couple of weeks ago, because I was putting it off and I've seen so many of my friends say, I'm this personality type, I'm that personality type. So I did it the first time for a few weeks ago, and I was like, right, okay, so it's the different personality types. Obviously, I'm trying to find what I was. I can't remember.
I was going to ask you what you were then.
I am a campaigner.
Oh, so am I.
Yay, that's why we got on so well. I'm a campaigner, ENPFA and a T. I'm an A
I
don't know.
I don't know what the last bit I am, but absolutely, I'm an ENFP.
Apparently, there's an A and a T type.
Yeah.
But I'm in between. I'm not one of the types. So that's amazing.
Oh, that's wow. We're both campaigners. So if anybody wants to hear, a campaigner is somebody who likes to do it's a feeling personality, they call it. It's sort of a little bit extroverts. So you do and what's interesting is the initials. What do they mean? So INFP, they all mean something a little bit different, but this is very much kind of saying like you're extrovert. And I don't know if people have come across that term before, extrovert and introvert. And I think it's important to reflect on what does that mean for you, because sometimes you can be an extrovert, but it doesn't mean you can't tap into your introvert and go with different personalities as well. So my boss always says, like, Tahira, that's your core personality, but actually it means you can tap into any of the personalities when you want to. So you tap into the as and when.
Yeah.
But so I found that really interesting. And it said a few key things which kind of made me, oh, okay, all right, good, right, I need to do that. But it says we've got energy, we're curious, excellent communicators, I think. And then obviously then I went straight down to the weaknesses and like poor practical skills and stuff. But what's really important, everybody, is when you've got a personality, have another personality which complements you. And shout out again to my friend Rachel, who works with me. She is a personality and we complement each other. So it's like she's an I and I'm an E and all that sort of stuff. So there's certain initials. I think she's a J. And when you start looking into this, everybody, you'll see it and go, oh, that's what she was talking about. It doesn't make sense now, but it'll make sense later. And I think that's key as well, because you can be a personality. There's nothing wrong with that. But actually, who have you got around you and how do you complement each other? Because I guess that's another thing about thinking about when you're running your business and you're working with people around you, what kind of personalities are they? If you're all the same personality, it's good. And I'm not sort of just sort of what am I not doing? I'm not saying that's wrong, but at the same time, having different personalities mean that you can keep each other in check and all that sort of stuff. I feel that's what I find in the team I currently work with as well. So that's cool. We hadn't even discussed that, listeners. We were just like, oh, hey, let's talk about that. And then there's another one. I don't know if you've done this one before. It's Institute for Character. And their website is www.viacharacter.org. And then they've got a survey. So we'll try to see if we can share the links, but they've got a survey, which there's 2 surveys on there, and you can take one as an adult and one as a younger person. And what you do is it just gives you a list. So it's got, I want to say from memory, about 24, and it says on that 24 sort of where which is your highest strength and which was the sort of the lowest one. And again, it focuses on the strengths, because I think that's quite important to do that. And it's getting into the habit of doing it as well. It's quite hard to give yourself praise. It's quite hard to say, I'm okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so again, because I'm in the business world, when you run your own business, it's very isolating. You don't have, because obviously, like yourself, when you're employed, like you, even now, you've got a really good work friend that you can sit and chill with, talk to, bounce ideas off. When you run your own business, a lot of time you don't have that, because your family don't understand it. Your friends might not understand it, because they're not really your ideal clients. I mean, you can sell to them a couple of times. They might be your cheerleaders, but they don't really understand. And I have built a really good network of women in business through networking. So going to networking events, like child-friendly ones and things like that. So this is why there's quite a lot of business coaches around, and there's memberships and things like that. I actually also run a Facebook community to give people a safe space, because they don't have it. You don't have your HR law, your employment law, your mentors, your free training, your CPD points. You don't have any of that stuff. So when you're running your own business, it's really, really good to get people around you that are like-minded, that you can kind of bounce off. And I think I saw something online the other day, and it was like the best friends that I've got in my life that I've never met. And it's literally like, sometimes you just meet people. I mean, that's even in a hadith about when you meet someone, you just get on with them, so it's like that in the business world. Alhamdulillah, I'm really lucky that I've got some really, really good business, I would call them business associates. Sometimes we do have business off each other, but also sometimes at 10 o'clock at night, when you're like, I've got an issue, like Assalamualaikum, or hi if they're not Muslim, how are you, on your Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, what's going on, I just had this thing happen today, what do you think? And that's how I've built my business as well, and helped myself. So it really does help. The support is just It's just, again, accountability and support I think in any aspect of life is a real success factor.
And asking questions.
Yeah, and asking questions. And
Asking
as
questions.
Muslims, we have that as well, because, you know, we're taught pray time 5 times a day. That's our accountability as a Muslim. Yeah, you know, we're taught to fast. We've got zakat. All of these things are accountability as Muslims, and it keeps us on the middle path. You know, when we're praying, it keeps us on. We even pray 5 times a day. Please keep me on the straight path. And we have that as Muslims, but in, like you said, we've got the different facets of our life. We've got the different strings to our bow. We need that in all parts of our life. As humans, I feel like we kind of crave it almost. We're not meant to be isolated. We're not meant to be alone. And, you know, just coming off on a bit of a tangent, this COVID has been quite difficult on everybody. So I think this is why the mental health, and I know you said there's a show before this about mental health issues, especially in the Muslim community. It's probably really come up. You know, it's really bubbling to the surface.
Yeah. And I think it's like there's 2 points which came up for me, because obviously I'm going to go back to the theme of giving yourself permission. And I think it's giving yourself permission, and I found it interesting journey to actually just ask for help. Ask for help is quite, because sometimes we do this thing where we kind of go, oh, can I ask for help? Can I not ask for help?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm fine. I'm all right. No, I'm fine. Yeah, it's okay. I can do it. I can do 100 things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And pray. And raise money and fundraise and be a best friend and be a mother and be a wife. And
yeah. And the thing is, I think people should absolutely strive to do everything they want to do, and I was listening to somebody, and they said, like, make the biggest dua. Like, Allah is so amazing, he will give you everything, so make the really big duas and just strive and work towards them. And I think it's just understanding yourself and giving yourself permission to ask questions. It's giving yourself permission to request for help and reach out as well, because that's the thing as well, because sometimes we kind of think, oh, I don't want to ask for it. I know it's one of the things I personally struggle with is, oh no, I should be able to do that. I should be able to do that. I'm qualified, or I've been doing this job for a while, I should be okay. So and I think it's what's interesting for me was as growing up, when I was sort of referring back to my sort of who I am as a person, my personality and all those things, it was actually the women in Islam which kind of gave me permission to be who I am. And I was just like, oh, these women are amazing. Like, why are people telling me to be quiet? And so, for example, Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked questions all the time. She was there. She questioned. There was none of that, oh, should I not? There was just, hey, I need clarity. And why don't we ask for clarity? Because that's what we should. Because otherwise, if you're left, I've got a bit of a logical brain. I kind of say, like, it's like algebra, x plus y equals z. If you don't tell me what the y is, then I'm just going to get lost, and z's just going to float by itself on the side. So that's my algebra excitement and fun, and that's my explanation. That's about it. And then the other thing is about the Prophet's wife, Khadija, she is amazing. She's a businesswoman. She was somebody who had her own thing, I suppose. That's one way of describing it, really, sort of abbreviating it down. And I was like, oh, she did her own transactions. She owned a business. She asked questions. She did all of that stuff. And I thought that was amazing. That is amazing that we've got those role models at the time of the Prophet, because I always go back to that, because I think we just go back to the core, don't go with the other ones, but obviously we've got inspirational bits and pieces as well. So, but those are my two things. There was one other thing which I felt was helpful, which was, it's called a lifeline, and I read it in a book. So what you do is you kind of have two scales. One is when you draw a graph. Unfortunately, I haven't got here's one I made earlier. I'm just looking at my book. I do have one, but I'll describe it. So one is the high and low as to how you're feeling, and one bit is the date. So it's looking at the date of sort of when did something take place, and thinking about the key events which took place in your life and what were you feeling from a mood point of view, because it's going back to your inside, it's looking back to your core.
I'm familiar with this.
So it's starting with, right, okay, what were the key 10 12 key events which took place in my life, and from there it was just thinking about, right, okay, 10 12 key things, and what was I feeling, what was my mood like, was it low, was it high? And I think that helps people to start discovering the internal sort of, what am I thinking, what potentially triggers me, and sort of moves things forward. I found that exercise helpful anyway, and I thought it was like, oh, that helped me to do that. And I personally went back right to down to my childhood, and I kind of went, right, what was I feeling at that time? And I remember, Sarah, we had a very quick conversation about, actually it does link back to your childhood, about giving yourself permission to do certain things and take certain steps. But I have to say, by the way, listeners, I totally get permission from my mum first. My mum is number one. I'm like, Mum, can I do this? And then she's like, Gigi, go, go, go. And I'll go, okay, bismillah, bismillah. And then I just go, right? I totally get permission because, you know, never go against the mum. So yeah, is there anything which you've done which you think has been helpful?
Timeline. I know you were saying about timeline. There's therapy. I think they actually call it timeline therapy, where people go. I think a lot of coaches use this as a tool to help some of their clients. I'm actually having some Shift for Healing, some therapy with a company called Shift for Healing. I've actually had a session this morning as well. I'm just going around on, you know, just ongoing professional development and stuff. And she really knowledgeable, mashallah. She's been doing this for years, and she speaks about sometimes there can be events in our childhood that can be really small, but somehow they've locked into our subconscious, and it kind of dictates a lot of our choices, which is basically what you've explained there. So there could have been something that, you know, something that happened, because I think it said that a lot of our ideals and the way that we act and stuff is actually cemented when we're younger, under 7. So there could be something under 7, like, you know, an event in the family, or, you know, some sort of bullying. It could be any small little thing that can actually trigger and kind of dictate the way that you manage things through life. And sometimes it takes for you to go back to that time, like you said, and how are you feeling, and it can kind of all relate together. So yeah, as just a bit of kind of ongoing development, I do kind of look at things like that anyway. But yeah, that is definitely a good one. I mean, it's just all about when you go out. The one thing I think is when people say to me, oh, I can't go live on Facebook, or I can't go live, like for example now Zoom, because what are people going to think of me? I look horrible. I don't like the way I look. I hate the way I sound. I don't like the way I look. I think I look a bit strange. There are actually neurological reasons for this, which again I learned on some training with someone, that the way that our brain perceives us, it's not a natural way to see ourselves. The way that we perceive ourselves is different, especially if we're on something like a piece of software that mirrors the way we look. So we don't even realize it. Sometimes we mirror it. So we're like, my eye doesn't look like that. It looks like and our body our mind doesn't like realize it. So then we start getting anxiety and it sets in. But you have to remember, all of the people that are watching the video are probably not even, they're actually too busy worried about their own anxieties to even notice that you've got a zit on your nose, or you think that you haven't got your hair done, or, you know, something like that. Everybody's got their own anxieties, and actually people are probably too busy worried about their own anxieties, and they actually want to watch you, or they want to see you, or they want your product or service, because they need something from you. So they just want to know you. They're not necessarily worried about that. And I think if you kind of think, oh, actually, yeah, we're all the same, we're all thinking the same. Literally, do you ever sit there and go, oh, look at her? We don't do it. We stalk people because we want to know what they're like. We stalk them for social media, of course we do, but we don't always do that. I think that's a lot in life, like standing up and speaking to a hall full of people. Like when I was in corporate, when I was in telecoms, I used to work for a consultancy company. I used to have to sit up, you know, with stakeholders, board members, and I'd be doing presentations, and I would be, oh my God, I'd be like, but they just wanted to hear what I had to say. They weren't really cared about, oh, there she looks this, you know, and that kind of anxiety kind of went away from there.
Yeah. Oh, she's disappeared off our screen.
Oh, sorry. I'm here.
It's okay. I was going to say family or cats or something like that always pings up or somewhere.
You know what it's like. Perimeter breach, I think they call it.
Yeah. Like in the Zoom world, you're like, what's happening?
So like, you know, just practical steps of just kind of breathing and just actually not even looking, and don't look back at your recordings straight away. Yeah. Because if you do that straight, oh my God, I'm going to delete it. Just do it. Put your phone down, walk away, speak to the client, put your advert out there. Put yourself out there, you know, do what you need to do. A lot of this stems around social media, because it is on social media, and social media is a false world. I found that out as a content creator myself, that a lot of stuff that's put online isn't real, and we're trying to aspire to something that doesn't exist. We're trying to, we're trying, everybody uses filters, even the top supermodels use filters. There's all the software. You look at people and, they don't look real. And because they haven't got real bodies, they haven't got real faces, and we're all trying to look like that.
Yeah, absolutely. My mum did say to me when we grew up, she's, look at their faces, they're so clean. I was like, Mum, it gets sprayed. She's like, no, Dada, no. And I was like, she doesn't do the accent, by the way. I just do it sometimes. Like, she's like,
gonna kill you. I don't do an accent.
She's like, well, I don't sound like that. I go, Mum, in my brain you sound like
in your brain.
In my brain. Obviously, we speak our mother tongue at home, so but it's so interesting. I think focusing on yourself and sort of what are we doing. So sort of making sure you're not comparing yourself. That's what I've just heard there. So giving yourself permission to
stay in your lane.
Just
everyone's
be
lane is different. Stay in your lane. Again, like I said, Allah teaches this. Keep me in the middle path. Just every time you pray, just think of that as well. I'm staying on the path that was this path. I'm staying on the middle path and keeping my deen. And that's the same ring. Don't look around. And everybody else is in the same position. So if you're going live on social media, or you're trying to put an advert, or you want to approach somebody with a business, product or service, just remember they're probably more interested in what the transformation that you're going to give them. Business, rather than actually you or what you look like and stuff like that. So don't worry about it.
Amazing. Right. Okay. Just a quick reminder to everybody. You're listening. So thanks for joining us. Firstly, obviously, if you've got any messages or anything like that at all, well, I'll give you the number in a sec. But you're listening to Give Yourself Permission with Tahira, with Sister Sara, on Ramadan Radio, 87.9 FM, online at radioramadan.org, and streaming on Facebook. Please call or text or WhatsApp any feedback, questions or comments. The telephone number is 077 614 60614. So 077 614 60614. So amazing. I think we've touched on so many little things, and I think it kind of gets people thinking. So the main thing is I would take away is sort of thinking about who you are, like being comfortable within your skin, no matter what people are saying. I know when I was growing up, people were like, sort of racial things came up, and that was people judging me for the color of my skin. And at one point I did think, do you know what, I wish I was white. Just so that people wouldn't judge me for, like, I'm walking down the road and they don't know me and they just sort of saying things, but then at some point, I don't know where, just a light bulb moment went on, and I said, actually, I'm all right, I'm okay, I speak another language, so I can say or do anything. Not that I talk about anybody behind their back, I think that's rude. And then I don't need to worry about a suntan. Like, I'm naturally brown all the time, except for when I have to take my scarf off when I get indoors, because my sister calls me a Teletubby because it's like a sign like
I know, and you get like what, brown hands. I go like a lobster. I'm Scottish. I got Scottish genes. We're just like a lobsters. And
then I think the last thing, which really for me was, actually I can get away with it and wear my traditional clothes and no one can say anything, otherwise I then call them so it's like, oh, you're racist, and they're like, oh. So
wear what you want. Wear what you want.
No, I know, but it was an interesting journey for me, and I don't know what got me thinking. I know what I feel got me thinking, and then I don't know what got me kind of thinking outside of, like, all right, okay, because I can imagine people just getting stuck in that. Oh, actually, am I a Muslim? Like, for me anyway, am I Pakistani or am I British? Like, what am I? Where am I being torn? Because wherever you go out and present yourself on your, however that is, whether you go to schools, whether you go to the workplace, whether you're volunteering, all those things. But I think it's really important to just be you in the best way, so that people can approach you and they can ask those questions. But I came across a concept which I think is amazing. It's an Arabic word called tazkiyah, and it's about the Islamic, I'll have to find a definition, but it's the sort of the Islamic path of self-development, and looking at yourself and sort of thinking about it that way. And it was when I wrote some notes down when I was reading the book, and it said about focusing on factors which enable you to achieve success, really identifying sort of every aspect of your life and sort of breaking it down, and then looking at within and outside, and prioritizing as well, which I thought was really structured. So I'm Muslim because I think, wow, it's amazing, we have so much structure. Allah helps us out in every way. And and then looking at the qualities of what you're thinking and setting priorities. I think that was key when I was reading, is about actually set yourself some goals and put something practical around it. So listeners, in regards to practicality, Sarah, would you suggest a certain format of being practical? Is there certain things which you sort of came across and think, right, okay, I'll tell you what, set yourself some targets, and while you're doing that, I'm going to look in my little book, because I think I had a little bit of structure. But what kind of things
I
do you
think
get
it's different for everybody, but setting goals are really good. Like, I would you start at the end and work your way back. So where do you want to be in 12 months? This doesn't necessarily be for business, this could be for anything. Where do you want to be in 12 months? And you work your way back. And you say, well, I can achieve this and this, maybe 6 months. But I would definitely, if you want to get a bit more structure and understand what you're doing, is set yourself some goals weekly and have your weekly goals. So like, I would do stuff on a Monday and then reevaluate on a Friday. So, you know, for example, you can set yourself, there's a couple of types of goals that you can set yourself as well. But ultimately, it's kind of working your way back.
And I think it's interesting you said that it's about looking at where you want to be and then working back. And then through that, it's about creating what you think is your own success and what your own definition of success is as well. So I can say parents at home are amazing. I think you have so many skills, and I want people just to recognize the practicality and the transferable skills you have. So no matter what you're thinking, some people might be like, well, I was only a parent for, like Sister Sarah, you said it, I was only a parent for 6 years, and I was just like, oh, no, that's an amazing thing to be doing. Like, you've got to multitask, you've got to sort of negotiate with kids loads of different ages, and then sort of try to help to satisfy them. You've got to think about what's priority, what's good, what's bad, and all that sort of stuff. Time management, you're doing a whole load of stuff, which I can just...
You're not felt, society makes you feel like, I don't think anyone's actually said it to me. Oh, I think a couple of people have actually. It's right, you're just at home. It should be going out, mum. It's not staying at home, mum. It's multitasking, going out, mum. You don't stay at home. Trust me, I wish you did. I wish I was at home for 6 years. Laying around, watching television, drinking coffee is not like that at all.
No. Sorry.
No, go on, you go on.
I was just going to say there was just some structure in regards to setting some sort of targets for yourself or goals.
Goals.
And I think it's very, very key to sort of think about what does that look like, and it's very individual to each individual person.
There's three, at its basic root, there are three kind of types of goals that you can set, which are like process, performance, and outcome. So process and performance goals you can manage. So for example, I'm doing some training this week, and the kind of process goal of it is I'm going to make sure that I study 1 hour every night this week. And how am I going to measure that performance? So if I study 1 hour every hour this week, on Friday I'll complete. So then on Friday I'll have this like certificate of training, and then the outcome goal is I want to go and get a job that's worth this much money with my new training. So that, like, process goals are specific as well. So they're the first type of goals you can do, but you can apply that to like anything you're doing. So say, for example, you've got something at work you want to do, or you've got self-development, or you've got chores around the house. Right, what am I going to do? I'm going to clean out 1 cupboard per day this week. And then how's the outcome? My outcome is going to be I'm going to have loads of clean cupboards, and then that was performance. Then my outcome goal is going to be I'm going to fill them up with new clothes. I don't know, something like that. That's just something relatable some people might relate to. And again, with prayers, not everybody prays. Fajr is really hard to get up for. Asr is really difficult. Prayers are really hard for a lot of people. As Muslims, it's very difficult, and we don't like admitting it. Oh yeah, mashallah, she prays 5 times a day, like, oh, it's something really good, but it's just something we should be doing. But again, you can do this with what's your process goal? My process goal is I'm going to try and pray Asr or Fajr on time every single day. The outcome goal is I'm going to have that. That's going to be something that I'm going to do, or I'm going to read a page of the Quran, or something that you want to do. And just set the goal, and you can tick it off each day. So that day I'm going to have that 10 minutes in the morning, and I'm going to do it then.
Okay. And it sounds like practical and like breaking it down as well. So it's kind of like set this, obviously, like inshallah, or like if we just reference to the prayer goal is, I'm going to pray and it's just going to be a natural habit and we're going to be good. And then it's just making yourself accountable and sort of thinking about what that is. So, and working towards it, developing it and sustaining that motivation, I think is quite key as well.
Get somebody else with you. Do it with somebody else. It's really good. Accountability works. It works for people because you have somebody around. Like I said to you, when you've got work, you've mentioned a work friend that you've got, there you can be your accountability partner without even realizing it. They keep you accountable. They might help you out. Do it with somebody else. It really works. Like I said, I'm all for having other people around you. If you want to say, right, I want to do my prayers better, approach a friend and say, look, I've not been praying very much recently. I really want to, or I haven't been praying on time, or, you know, there's a lot of people that are born into Islam that want to come back to Islam and are afraid. I had somebody message me about 2 weeks ago and said, I'm really embarrassed. My parents and nobody knows that I haven't been praying. I didn't leave Islam, but I didn't do much about it. Now Ramadan's coming, I really want to try again. And I was like, you know what, mashallah, we kind of call them returners. So I've been done a lot of support work with revets and returners. And again, this kind of thing you can do, you can have somebody with you. So that person now wants to come back to Islam. You've got an accountability partner with you. I mean, obviously everybody says, you know, everyone's, you know, Allah's with us always, but having that person to talk to and share it with, and they're sharing it with you as well. Honestly, it could be a massive success factor for you. Sometimes again, you just got to put yourself out there a little bit and give yourself permission to do it. Give yourself permission to say, right, this is me, I'm going to get a bit vulnerable. Because when you get a bit vulnerable, sometimes that can be when you have the most breakthroughs as well.
Because you're really then tapping into you, aren't you? You're going deeper and you're kind of going, right, okay, I need to get into that. And then I think it's really key that it's about, for me, it's about, you've got the intention, so you say Bismillah and you do the right intention, and then from there you move and then you kind of go, right, okay, how am I going to make this happen and what steps are going to take? And I don't know where, I feel like I've read somewhere that it's about the small little steps which help to create it. Don't do this big massive step and then think I'm going to sustain that, but actually do a smaller one which allows you to move it, sort of move yourself forward. But I think intention is key. There's somebody who I sometimes listen to and he talks about the why. So look at your why. What is the reason why you want to do that, take that step, and all those things as well? Because I think when we go through good and bad days, you always come back to that why, don't you? You always kind of go, what am I doing this again? And when you're running your business, Sister Sarah, you're always kind of thinking, why am I doing this again? Why am I waking
always
up
goes
at this
back
time?
to your why. Always, why are you doing it? Setting your intentions. Because if you set your intentions, your mindset's right. If you haven't got the right mindset, your business isn't going to go anywhere. Because you're not going to be focused. You're not going to know, why am I doing what? And you're going to be doing things, you know, you're not going to know what you're doing. And it literally, like I said, some people I've spoken to, it's completely changed their business. Just going back to saying why are they doing it and who are they doing it for?
Absolutely. So I think it's good. We're going to wrap up actually, and so I'm going to summarize and say, and then I'm going to get some wise words from yourself, sister. Is so my thing is look inwards, look at yourself, self-reflect. Sometimes, or sort of adding an extra one, sorry, not summarizing, is people do gratitude diaries as well. So they kind of do reflective and gratitude diaries.
Journaling.
Absolutely. What happened? Sometimes those can be voice notes. They don't need to be the physical notes which you have. And there's loads of tools out there as well which can help you with that. Oh, you got one? I love it. Muslim boss. I love it. That's so good. So I think it's a thing of thinking about yourself, and it's something I'm gonna just touch on and try to invite people, and maybe I'll invite you back, Sister Sarah, to have a conversation about what does that look like, and if somebody wants to, we can always try to work it through with them and sort of help them to think about it and start exploring it. It's a big topic. It's a very, very big topic. Mental health is a big topic, and then that links into what we were talking about, about sort of where am I now and sort of moving forward. But I would say in regards to actions, listeners, is do go online and do the 16 personalities and the viacharacter.org sort of assessment, looking at your strengths. Apparently I'm funny, that's my number one strength, and my lowest strength is love, so I've got no love for anybody, but anyway, that's fine. Like, you look at the 24 in between, and really just remind yourself and sort of kind of go, right, what's my intention, what do I want to do, what do I want to, give yourself permission to ask those questions, ask for help, and just move it forward. Sister Sara, your final words, and then we'll
I
end.
would say just know that you are good enough. Like, literally, you really are good enough, and I wouldn't worry about, you know, not putting yourself out there. Give yourself permission to be a business person. Give yourself to be, you can be a wife as well as being a business person, and you can have your own life as well. You don't have to have your complete life in servitude of others. You can serve yourself. But also, I would really, really recommend getting some, if you're not in business, if you're just, you know, whatever you are, get yourself some friends. Well, not friends, you know, get accountability and get support. Put yourself out there and ask for accountability and support. This links in with mental health. It can really boost you having somebody around that you can just speak to and speak to things. So when I said about goal setting yourself a couple of goals, say to someone else, would you like to come and do this with me? And you can kind of spur each other on. This is why diet groups work so well, because they're kind of spurring each other on. They do their weigh-ins together, they're sharing recipes together, you know, that sort of thing. You can do that in any aspect of your life. It doesn't just have to be that. It can be, you know, like I said, if you want to, you know, do stuff in the house, you want to start walking, you want to start writing poetry, you want to anything you want to do, you can do it.
And there's so many things online which are for free as well. You
yes
can,
loads.
if you search
Google
on
anything for
yeah,
YouTube.
absolutely.
On YouTube will teach you anything you want to know. So
absolutely, I learned how to lay my flooring with that, but anyway, that's a different story
yeah,
altogether. Okay, all right, and then go online, and there's Eventbrite, and there'll most likely be things online as well. On Eventbrite, there's a whole load of free tools online, everybody. So do sort of tap into those. Just want to say Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for listening to me and Sister Sara today on radio, Ramadan Radio, sorry, 87.9 FM. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.